You cannot trust Labour on taxes. If they have the chance to loot more money, they certainly will. Labour, propped up by Te Pāti Māori and the Greens, will be even more irresponsible than now. Chris Hipkins' only path to power is with two coalition partners who would rather move straight to looting than just tax people's capital. You've got the Greens and Te Pāti Māori totally committed to a capital gains tax. The truth is, New Zealand will not get wealthier by introducing more taxes, and the protection against capital and wealth taxes with Chris Hipkins as Prime Minister would be paper thin.
He also looked into a tax-free threshold of under 10,000. All of that would be tax-free. Would you support that?
No, a tax-free threshold means that everyone, including the very wealthiest, pay no tax on their first 10,000. You then have to have higher tax rates on higher incomes to make up for it, defeating the original purpose. Far better to have a system of transfers where people who earn low income get a tax credit, low and middle income tax credit for people who really need some money back. A tax-free threshold gives less tax and therefore a benefit to everybody, but puts higher taxes on high earners to make up for it, completely defeating the purpose.
So what's wrong with a tax switch, switching the tax burden from, or some of it, from income earners to people who own capital?
Look, the purpose of tax is to raise money to provide for the schools, the hospitals, the police and the prisons and the roads that a society needs. We can raise enough money through a simple, flat income and consumption tax, income and GST. The only reason a government would introduce a capital tax is because it is involved in the idolisation of envy, and no country gets wealthier by trying to punish people who accumulate capital by working, saving and investing.
But this is just about, a tax switch would just be about sharing some of that burden. So, you might take it away from higher earning people on a wage and put it on people who are gaining income from assets. Isn't that fairer?
Well, when you want someone to do less of it, you tax them. That's why there's high taxes on cigarettes. If you want less working, saving and investing, then just put a tax on having capital. That's how you stop people wanting to save and invest. That's how you get less productivity because there's less capital for workers to work with. People ultimately earn less. The whole world has moved away from capital taxes over the past several decades. Only the Greens and Te Pāti Māori are seriously suggesting we go back.
But by that logic, if you tax income and you leave capital completely untaxed, then aren't you disincentivising working for wages?
Well, the logical argument is to move towards more consumption taxes. My point is that you don't want to go further in the direction of taxing people who save and invest and form capital so that there is more productivity from people that have more capital to work with in their workplaces.
Do you think wealthy New Zealanders paying their fair share?
Wealthy New Zealanders are paying far more than their fair share. If you look at the statistics, it is people on high incomes who are overwhelmingly paying the tax in New Zealand. They are paying more than their share for schools and hospitals and roads and police and prisons to make the society function. This is looting and insanity. It will make New Zealand an even less desirable place to work, save and invest in, because if the government thinks you've done too well, they'll come and take it. Culturally, it amounts to tall poppy syndrome put into the tax code. It is a path to mediocrity and poverty for the whole country to start looting people's money because they're seen to do too well. Once you start saying there's going to be a tax on doing too well, you've got to be real careful about who else might be caught in that net. All right. Thank you very much.